Hi friends, welcome back again. So we are reaching the last session of the economics, and I hope you remember about that program that we were discussing about yesterday, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, which is very successful in eradicating poverty and helping people of all sorts, of all areas, of all ages, and so on. So they are really helpful to the poor people in order to overcome their poverty, their hunger, and so on. Today, let us continue with the same topic, and Antyodaya and Yojana, and how the PDS system is functioning nowadays. You can take page number 51. So in July 2002, the stock of wheat and rice with FCI was 63 million tons, which was much more than the minimum buffer norms in 2024.3 million. So we already saw in the previous page, the graph we saw how much was the requirement. So more than what is required. The requirement was only just 24.3, but government collected plenty, more than what they require. So, the stock is up to 2002-2003 due to relief operations undertaken by the government, as the year was declared as drought year due to failure of monsoon. So government had collected and kept plenty, therefore it was useful for the following year, because in the following year there was a lot of drought was there, and government was able to distribute this one to the poor people, because most of the people's crop failed and they were not able to have proper sufficient food. So government happily distributed to the suffering people the grain that was already collected and kept in the godown. The decline in stocks continued in subsequent years. However, these remained consistently higher than the buffer norms. The situation improved with the distribution of food grains under different schemes launched by the government. So we see again that the coming years also the red line is coming down. So the stock is reduced, but always it is above the requirement. Government has made that we should have minimum this much. The blue line shows. So where it was 24 was a minimum, but government had more. 24, 99 were there. Then another year, 2005, the rule was we should have 16.8 million tons stock. But then we had 21.7. So always the stock was above the requirement. The requirement says we must have this much, but government was taking initiative to collect more food grains. And there is a general consensus that high level of buffer stocks of food grain is very undesirable and be wasteful. So why government stopped reducing or collecting too much? The first time we saw the requirement was 24 and the government had collected 61. So more than double it was collected. Afterwards government reduced the stock because the government realized collecting too much is waste. Sometimes the food grain gets spoiled and getting wasted. It is waste of money. And the short storage of massive food stocks has been responsible for high carrying costs in addition to wastage and deterioration in grain quality. So carrying plenty, the transportation cost is very high, and also storing plenty and keeping the quality becomes low. It is getting rotten, it is getting spoiled, and so the quality of the grain is also getting lost. That's why government is not collecting too much grains. Then freezing of MSP for a few years should be considered seriously. So MSP means minimum support price. So every year government used to tell the farmers that we will give you this much price and we will buy food grain from you. And since there is so much of stock is there in the godown, government is thinking for few years I think better not to give MSP, not to fix the rate, not to tell the farmers that we are going to buy, because we have got enough stock is there. So that is the plan that government used to do. When the stock is too much, government will not buy from the farmers. They can directly go and sell it in the market. So that way government is trying to save the wastage of money. The increased food grains procurement as enhanced MSP is the result of the pressure exerted by leading food grain producing states such as Punjab, Haryana and Andhra Pradesh. So why do this government is procuring so much of food grain more than what is required? Because some states are very powerful, they put pressure on the government, buy from us, we have produced more grains, buy from us. So they will put pressure and government is forced to buy. So like Punjab, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, these are the states producing more grain and they don't know what to do. So they will force the government, come and buy, we have produced more. So government is buying and that way it is store up plenty, the transportation money is extra wasted and sometimes food or grain is getting rotten and so on. So it becomes a waste from the side of the government. And you can see the farmers, they are tying grain in the side, line by line they are keeping in order to sell it to the government FCI. So much of food grain is there. And moreover, as a procurement is concentrated in few prosperous regions like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and lesser extent in West Bengal and mainly of two crops, wheat and rice, increase in MSP has induced farmers, particularly in surplus states, to divert land from production of coarse grains, which is a staple food of the farmer, to the production of rice and wheat. So another problem that the government realized, that government is buying only two items, wheat and rice. But there are farmers who are cultivating so many different items. Some are cultivating groundnuts, some are cultivating potato, some are cultivating mutton. So people are cultivating different things. But government is buying only two items, that is wheat and rice. So that is benefiting only some states. All throughout the India, people are not cultivating wheat and rice. So those farmers who are cultivating other items, they are not getting benefit from the government of minimum support price. Only these farmers who are cultivating rice and wheat, only they are getting the benefit. Therefore, what did other farmers do? Those who are cultivating potato, mutton, chana, groundnuts, all those things, they stopped cultivating that. They also started cultivating rice and wheat because we also need money. We also want to sell it to the government. So that way, other types of products were completely closed down. Farmers all began to cultivate rice and wheat. Then what will be the result? There will be overproduction of rice and wheat. So much of production of rice and wheat, and other things will be scarce, and there will be less production of other things. Then the price of those things will be very high again. So that kind of problem was there. And the intensive utilization of water in the cultivation of rice has also led to environmental degradation and fall in the water level, threatening the sustainability of the agricultural development in these states. Another problem that was there was when farmers started cultivating rice, all the farmers shifted to cultivating rice. So rice needs more water. I hope you remember what you have studied. Rice needs more water for cultivation. It needs more than 100 centimeter rain. If there is no rain, we need to do the irrigation and so more and more people started cultivating rice and they started pumping and irrigating water and irrigating the rice, the paddy, and what happened? The ground level water was reduced. The ground level water went down and down. That is affecting the environmental problems. The environment was polluted and the ground level water was going down and the poor farmers were suffering. They were missing the drinking water and so it created a lot of environmental problems as well. And see, the minimum support price MSP have raised the maintenance cost of procuring food grains by government. Rising transportation and storage costs of the FCI are other contributing factors in this increase. So now the minimum support prices have raised the maintenance cost of procuring food grains. So now the government have realized that if I rise the minimum support price, then more and more farmers will cultivate because they are assured government will give them this much money. But what is happening? Government has to carry all that food, so carrying charge we have to give to the transportation for the trucks. Then we have to pay money to the storage. FCI may not be having the godown, they may be borrowing from others the building, so they have to pay rent for them and so it becomes more expensive for the government. Then another major area of concern is marked ineffectiveness of PDS. So, which is apparent from the fact that the average consumption of PDS grain at the all India level is only 1 kg per person per month. So, another reason is the ineffectiveness of PDS. So, government is making the grain available, but what happens is the people who are in charge of PDS, the distribution, they are not doing well. Sometimes they don't open the shop, so poor people cannot come and buy. Sometimes they sell the things to other shops they sell and collect money, and they collect from some old spoiled grain and bring and sell it to the poor. The poor people don't like to buy that spoiled one. So such kind of corruptions are there, and as an average, the government has realized that 1 month one person is buying only 1 kg. So we can imagine with 1 kg rice one person cannot eat for 1 month. After 2 days maximum it will get over. That means one person is buying only 1 kg. That means he is buying from some other place. He is not buying from PDS shop. That shows the distribution system is not proper. That's why people are not coming and buying. The average consumption figure is as low as less than 300 gram per person per month in the states of Bihar, Orissa and Uttar Pradesh. So, 3 states, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Orissa, there a person is eating less than 300 gram per month. So, one person is eating only 300 gram of grain in a month. That is simply wrong. We cannot think that one person can eat for 1 month with 300 grams of grain. 300 means less than half kg is 500 gram. This is only 300 gram. So he is buying from the PDS shop only just 300 gram in a month. Then the rest of the days how is he eating? He must be buying from other private shops. That is the situation. So in contrast, the average consumption in many of the southern states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh is in the range of 3 to 4 kgs per person per month. So, but other states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, they are buying 3 kg or 4 kg per person 1 month. So, 1 month person is managing with 4 kg of rice in a month. That means they are buying more. So as a result, the poor have to depend on markets rather than the ration shops for their food needs. So the poor people are not able to go and buy from the PDS shops, and they have to go and buy from other private shops where the price is very high. So government has started this PDS to help the poor people. Now the poor people cannot buy from these shops, and they are able to buy only 300 grams or half kg, 1 kg and so on. And the rest of the food they have to go and buy from private market, which is very costly. Then in Madhya Pradesh, only 5% of wheat and rice consumption of the poor are met through the ration shop. So another state, Madhya Pradesh. So people's only 5% of needs they are able to get from PDS shops. All the rest 95% they have to go and buy from other private shops. So there also it has become a failure now. In Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, the percentage is still lower. So other states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, even this 5% also not reaching. People are able to get only 4% or 3% of their needs from these PDS shops. So the shops are not functioning properly. The government has to check and make sure that these things are functioning properly so that the poor people can get benefit from it. The PDS dealers are sometimes found resorting to malpractices like diverting the grains to open market to get better margin, selling poor quality grains at ration shops, irregular opening of the shops, etc. So you can underline that. Some of the drawbacks of PDS system. So the PDS dealers, the shopkeepers, what do? Sometimes they divert the grains to the open market. The grain that is coming to the PDS shop, they will divert it. They will sell it to the other shops in order to get more profit. Then selling poor quality grains at the ration shop, then they will collect some poor rotten ones from other places and sell it in the ration shops. Then irregular opening of the shop, sometimes they don't come for opening at all. So when poor people come to buy the rice or wheat, the shop is not open, so they had to go buy. Their house may be far away, so all the people, for them to walk and come every day is not easy. So if every day shop is open, then it is easy for the people to come and buy. Then that is another problem. Then it is common to find that ration shops regularly have unsold stocks of poor quality grains left. So sometimes the grain that is sold here are very poor quality. Therefore people don't want to buy. It is rotten, not taste at all. It is very unhealthy. Therefore people are not buying and it is simply remaining there. And this has proved to be a big problem. When ration shops are unable to sell, a massive stock of food grains piles up in the FCI. In recent years, there is another factor that has led to the decline of the PDS. And earlier, every family, poor and non-poor, had a ration card with a fixed quota of items such as rice, wheat, sugar, etc. And these were sold at the same low price to every family. And the three types of cards and the range of prices that you see today did not exist. So, in olden times, we see there was no division. Those who are below poverty line, above poverty line, they were all allowed to buy the same amount of grain for the same price. Afterwards, government reduced it. So those who are below poverty line, their price is low. Those who are above poverty line, their price is high. So government arrange it according to the situation of the people. And when people don't buy from these PDS shops, what happens? The food grain remains there. They will not go and buy, collect. The shopkeeper will not go and collect again from the food grain. FCI go down, and then the food grain in the FCI go down will remain there for a long time, and it will start getting rotten, and so a lot of problems are there. And these included low-income families whose incomes were marginally higher than the below poverty line families. Now, TPDS program of three different prices. Any family above the poverty line gets very little discount at the ration shops. The price for APL family is almost as high as the open market price. So there is little incentive for them to buy these items from the ration shops. So now government has improved or increased the price for APL families. So if they go to ration shop, they will get very little discount. So it is almost same as the price of things outside. Therefore, the APL families are not much interested to go to ration shop and buy. Only the poor families will go. Therefore, the more grain will remain there, nobody will buy, and it is going on remaining there. Then the role of cooperatives in food security. So apart from the government, there is also societies like cooperatives. The societies like cooperatives, they are also helping in providing food security for the people of India. Let us see how. So the cooperatives are also playing an important role in food security in India, especially in the southern and the western parts of the country. So the southern parts and the western parts of India, you will find a lot of cooperative societies are there providing food security for the people. For example, out of all fair price shops running in Tamil Nadu, around 94% are being run by cooperatives. So in the state of Tamil Nadu, the ration shops or the fair price shops, 95% of the fair price shops are run by cooperative societies, not by individuals. And in Delhi, Mother Dairy is making strides in provision of milk and vegetables to the consumers at controlled rate decided by the government of Delhi. So in the government of Delhi or in the Delhi Union Territory, there is a cooperative called Mother Dairy, and they are providing to the people milk and vegetables at a price that is fixed by the government. So they will collect the milk and vegetables from the people and will distribute to the poor people at a lower price. Then Amul is another success story of cooperatives in milk and milk produce in Gujarat. So Gujarat has got another cooperative society. Its name is Amul. You must have seen Amul milk and so available in the shop. It is Amul. So many products are there that is coming from Gujarat. And it has brought about the white revolution in the country. So you can underline which cooperative has brought white revolution in the country. Which corporation? The cooperative Amul. Amul has brought the white revolution. That means they brought high grades of cows which can produce higher amount of milk and made the milk available in the country. That is called white revolution. In the case of producing wheat and rice, it was green revolution, and in the case of producing higher amount of milk, it is white revolution. Since milk is white in color, it is called white revolution. And these are few examples of many more cooperatives running in different parts of the country, ensuring food security of different sections of the society. So just as the government is trying to provide things at a cheaper rate, these cooperative societies are also trying to provide things at a cheaper rate so that the poor people can have access to these food items. Similarly, in Maharashtra, Academy of Development Sciences (ADS) has facilitated a network of NGOs for setting up grain banks in different regions. So in Maharashtra there is a cooperative called Academy of Development Sciences, and they buy the food grains and stock it up. ADS organizes training and capacity building programs on food security for NGOs. So it is an NGO, non-governmental organization, and they will also conduct different courses for NGO people so that they also can know how to do these food programs. Then grain banks are now slowly taking shape in different parts of Maharashtra. So Maharashtra, there are many grain banks are there. They are collecting and gathering, like FCR got on, they are collecting and gathering food grains in different places. You have heard about blood bank, isn't it? So people can donate blood to the bank, and those who are sick, those who are in need of blood can take from there. In the same way, food grain, people can store up food grain there, and when they need, they can come and take. And now it is very famous in Maharashtra. Then ADS efforts to set up grain banks to facilitate replication through other NGOs and to influence the government's policy on food security are thus paying rich dividends. So the activity that they are undertaking, the initiative that they are showing, it is showing big dividends. Many people are benefiting from that. And the ADS Grain Bank program is acknowledged as a successful and innovative food security intervention. So this food banks, creating the food banks in Maharashtra state, it is acknowledged as a very successful program. So people who are hungry, people who have no food, they will be able to come and take from there at a nominal rate. So we have come to the end. Just let us summarize whatever we have studied in this lesson so far. So food security of a nation is ensured if all of its citizens have enough nutritious food available, all persons have the capacity to buy food of acceptable quality, and there is no barrier or want access to food. That we already said in the beginning of this lesson, that if you want to say a country has got food security, then all the people of that country should have nutritious food, should have money to buy that food, and should be accessible, should be close to them. Then the people living below poverty line might be food insecure all the time, while better off people might also turn food insecure due to calamity or disaster. So very often it is the poor people who are affected by food insecurity because they have no money to buy food. But it is also possible that the well-to-do people, the rich people also suffer from food insecurity, especially when there is a natural calamity and so drought, flood, and so all that they have may be lost. Therefore, they also can be food insecure. And although large section of people suffer from food and nutritious insecurity in India, the worst affected groups are landless and land poor households in rural areas, and people employed in ill paid occupations and casual laborers engaging in seasonal activities in the urban area. So we can say in India, particularly, we can say who are the people affected by this food insecurity? It is the landless farmers, landless people. They have no land to cultivate. They always have to go and cultivate in others' field. Then also poor quality land. Those who have got land but that is very poor quality, cannot produce anything or very little is produced. Those people are also suffering. That is in the rural area. But people who are living in the urban area also are suffering. People who don't have regular work, they will be suffering. People who are paid very little, they also will be suffering, and so on. We saw throughout this lesson many stories of different people, how they are ill paid, how they are persecuted, or how they are not paid for their work, and so on. So all these are problems, how people can become insecure in food. And the food insecure people are disproportionately large in some regions of the country, such as economically backward states with high incidence of poverty, tribal and remote areas, regions more prone to natural disasters, etc. So in India we can say the poor people are not equally distributed. Some states have got no poor people. Some states have got very high number of poor people, and so on. So which are the states having high number of poor people? The states which are economically backward. The states they have no much development. Those states will be having more poor people. Then the tribal areas, the remote rural areas, people who are living there, regions more prone to natural disasters. Some regions are always getting the natural disasters like flood or drought, and so on. So people who are living in these regions, they are always prone to this in food insecurity. Then to ensure availability of food to all sections of the society, the Indian government carefully designed food security system which is composed of two components, that is buffer stock and public distribution system. So we said the government has seen that the problems of the people, the food insecurity of the people, therefore government started a program called food security program with two components. One is the buffer stock, that the government will collect the surplus production from the farmers by paying them the price, and afterwards it will be distributed to the needy people, the poor people, that is public distribution system. So these are the two parts of food security program in India, collecting the surplus food grain from the people and afterwards distributing to the poor people through public distribution system. Then in addition to PDS, various poverty alleviation programs were also started which comprise a component of food security. So we saw about so many programs that government started. Apart from this food security program or the PDS system, government also started Antyodaya, Anna Yojana, Food Forward program, and so many programs government started seeing the needs of the people. Then some of these programs are integrated child development services, food for work program, midday meals, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, etc. These are some of the additional programs that government started in order to help the targeted group. They are selecting certain poor people who are affected mostly, and those people are selected and they are given this benefit of these programs. And food security, there are various cooperatives and NGOs also working intensively towards this direction. So we saw the example of so many cooperative societies. In Gujarat there is Amul, in Delhi there is dairy, Anna dairy, then in Maharashtra there is another grain banks. So different states have started different cooperatives in order to help this government program to make sure that food is available to all the people, especially to the poor people, and nobody suffers from hunger, nobody suffers from starvation, and so that is the plan of the government, and the people have cooperated with the government, and we can say to a great extent it has become successful, and we don't hear about food starvation in India. Almost all the people are self-sufficient with the help of these government programs. They have become self-sufficient in acquiring food for themselves, and they are able to have nutritious food, they are able to have sufficient food, and remain healthy. So we come to the end of this text, we can say economics, and we have completed the 4 chapters, and we learned about different programs of the government, how the people have benefited the different programs of the government, and they are economically developing, economically progressing. So now I will send you the note also, and so write down well, study well, and always keep yourself busy reading. Don't just sit and waste your time, but read this textbook again and again so that it will remain in your memory and it will become very handy for you when the exam comes. So thank you for listening all these days, and I appreciate your patience, and all the best, wish you all the best, and study well. Okay, thank you once again. Bye.